Welcome back to the DNA Pest Control Podcast. Daniel.
And Aaron.
All right, Aaron. How you doing?
I'm good. It's always good for NPMM Pest Guests. How are you doing?
I'm doing good.
Good.
I am excited jumping in with this guest. Hopefully we have some good stories and something crazy. Always love hearing it. And from a different perspective, from a different state, from a different area. It's always nice.
I'm really looking forward to it. So today's guest, we have Jonathan Slate. He has 3.5 years in the industry. He's based out of Connecticut. Among other things, he is a wildlife specialist, but he does do regular pest control as well. We'll dive into that. Jonathan, can you hear us?
I can.
Awesome. Hey, man. Thank you so much for taking time out of your Saturday to jump on the show. We really appreciate that.
Yeah. Thank you for having me on. Guys, it's like, I have to tell you right off, thank you for having me on. And it's like one of my lifetime goals. It's like one of my bucket lists to be on the podcast with you guys. So thank you. Thank you for the opportunity.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. So before we get into the real meat and potatoes of the episode, a lot of our listeners, something we ask is, how did you get in the industry 3.5 years ago?
Yeah. So, funny story. So, when I was a little kid, I dreamed of being in pest control. No, I'm kidding. I wouldn't even put that.
I was like, oh, okay.
Like, dang, wow, that's a different one.
We haven't had one yet. I don't know if we'll have someone like that.
No.
Basically, I grew up in, my dad does construction. So I basically grew up doing construction, working in the workshop, doing hands-on work, great work ethic and everything. And then, I also grew up on a farm, so I was always trapping animals here and there. And I really knew I liked it. I would always set a trap out, by the chicken coop and get up early the next morning, run out there, see if I caught anything. So I knew I liked it a little bit, liked outdoors and everything. So then I went after working for my dad for a few years, I went for a certification, with NCOA with a basic wildlife course and learned all about the industry. Absolutely knew I was going to go into it. And then picked up a Connecticut license, which is a CT NCOA or CT. It's a Connecticut wildlife license, and I basically approached a wildlife company in our Torrington, which is the next town over, and they offered me a job, and away we went. I worked with another tech for a little while, but that's basically how I got into it.
Nice. Okay. So you did. You started off in wildlife.
Yeah. Yep, okay. Correct. So I got my wildlife license, started wildlife, still absolutely love it. But then about, I would say 3 months in, I got my operator's license, or my junior operator's license for doing pesticides under a supervisor. So then I've been doing pest and wildlife since. Our company started in pest, so it's still majority of the work is pest, but I don't know, probably 50% of, I would say 40 or 50% of wildlife. So still makes me happy.
Gotcha. Okay. So you found a good compromise. You're doing the pest control and you're still doing the wildlife. Okay. And on the wildlife side, what do you focus mostly on?
Whatever's in season. So we'll do anything. I'm open to anything. Well, it depends on what the company wants me to do. Right. So the sky's the limit with me, but I'm willing to do anything. We do mostly squirrels, raccoons, skunks, exclusions under decks, or I've been getting into, in the past year or so, I've been getting into metal work. So that's a big one on right now. Instead of just patching up the mesh or something, I'm going to do that trim work and that finished fascias and everything. And I've been getting a lot better at it. So yeah, I'm really taking pride in my work now rather than I've been kind of just climbing the scale a little bit and getting better at my job. So
yeah, that's cool.
Yeah. And what was the transition look like when you went from wildlife into pest control? Was it more of you kind of were forced into it, or were you interested in actually jumping in onto the pesticide?
Yeah. So basically, when I started, I had my wildlife license, so I could do wildlife. I rode around with a senior tech at the time. He had been in the industry for about 4 years. He's good. He's still with us, but he did pest control and wildlife. And as I say, most of our work was pest. It was probably 60%. I would say probably 60% most of the time of pest control. So I couldn't do any of that side. So it was mostly whenever he's on that job, we got, I don't know, 10 routes, whatever, or a wildlife job we'd be on most of the day. And then we do some pest control. I would just kind of stay back. He would teach me what I can, but I can't apply them. I was just basically riding around. So, and then as soon as I got it, I basically kind of went on my own, got my own truck and stuff like that. So my boss was kind of just putting me the wildlife tech to fill in time. Well, because he knew I couldn't do anything. I couldn't fill in a whole day if I had my own truck. So the transition was just, I'd already known everything. Well, sort of to a certain extent. I knew a lot. So then when I got my applicator's license, whatever, then I just started doing pest as well.
Oh, nice. Okay. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay. So you kind of got into both, dabbled, into the pest control side, and then eventually got into it. Now it's around 50-50. Mm-hmm. That's good. Okay. How do you like pest control, running the route, doing things like that compared to the wildlife?
Oh, he broke up.
How do you like...
I think your question was, how do I like it? Oh.
Yeah. Can you hear me?
You guys back? Yep, I can hear you. Sorry.
Okay.
All good.
Yeah, just making sure. Okay, how do you like what's kind of the main difference that you've seen between, do you like more the wildlife side? Do you like running the route?
Yeah, so I absolutely I'll die for wildlife. Every aspect of it I love. So, and actually this season I'm doing mostly wildlife, but I also like the pest just because most of the pest problems, you get the rodent pest, as in general pests, spraying for ants, whatever, bugs, mice, and I like that, but also it gives, if I'm doing a route only of pest, I like the fact that I can upsell those customers on certain things, because a lot of the other pest technicians that's been servicing them, they haven't seen a wildlife technician, or the other techs that are just doing pests, they don't know exactly what to look for. So I'm like always looking for upselling them, vents and everything. So that would be part of what I like doing about the pest is I can run like 10, 12 routes in a day, whereas wildlife, I'm on one job all day and I don't have that big of a job. I don't have that big of a chance to upsell them on something. So there's benefits to both. I love both, but wildlife is definitely where it's at for me.
Nice. Okay.
Yep.
Okay. So we had a question, because when you did submit in your information, it said that you asked a question to us in the past.
Yep.
What was that question? I was looking everywhere and I could not find where it came from.
The question you guys had for me, or the one I had for you guys was, and you guys answered it flawlessly. I love it. I love the answer. And I was basically, you guys were spot on. I never even thought about it like that, but I was babysitting the tech, and I still am. And then your question was, what does the training program look like at my work? Because we're obviously trained. Me and that other tech, we're obviously trained differently. And
I do remember it now.
I think Aaron had that question for me. And basically, I don't want to say too much. I don't want to say anything bad about my company. I don't think I should be saying anything bad about my company, but we don't have a training program. So I wish we did. It's gotten a lot better since I started. When I started 3.5 years ago, there was nothing to speak of. Being with the other tech was literally the only thing I got trained. It's gotten better in the past few months since 2024, and me trying to push it and stuff. A couple of the other techs too. We've gotten meetings together, and he'll block us off to like 10:30 or something, and we'll just run a video and do a little more training. But no, there was no training to speak of, and still it's not where it should be.
Okay. So. Yeah, I do remember that question. It was, you were watching another guy do his exclusion and everything like that. I do remember that specifically now.
Yep. And okay. I love you guys' answer, and that's why I don't know. I know doing wildlife, I know there's variables in it and everything, and that's basically why I wrote in, just because I wanted another opinion, and you guys made totally sense. I had a different perspective on that, so thank you for the answer. That was great.
Yeah, no, yeah, of course. I mean, we're here to kind of give you a different perspective, at least from our perspective, and it may not always be the right answer, so, we're here definitely for that, and just, throwing it out there. But thanks for asking the question, because that's awesome. And thanks for coming on, and even putting your face out there to the question, so now people can connect it. That's very brave. So good. Yeah. Thank you for doing that.
So guys, I know I finally got up the nerve to actually ask you guys to be on. So I love Pest Guest and everything, and some are better than others, but
yes.
I wanted this to be a little educational rather than just Pest Guest. And if it's okay with you guys, can I share a list of things I created? I put some thought into it, and so with no training, is it all right if I just share a little bit, guys?
Please go. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. Okay. So, working at a company that it was good and bad. So good for a tech like me, because I have a good work ethic and self-motivation is not usually a problem for me. So I've really excelled. And when there's other technicians on the crew that don't really care, and there's no training program or no accountability, it makes me look really good. So it was good for me, but also no training program will also breed, I think, lazy techs. So I put together a few things that just have helped me. Basically, let me get it here. Basically, I think has helped me be a better tech or excel in the workplace. So, number one, self-motivation. That's, oh, I lost you guys.
Oh,
You there?
I can still hear you. Yeah, I can still hear you.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Hey, you guys there?
Yep. Can you hear us?
Yep, I can keep going out.
Oh, hold on, Jonathan. 1 minute. Let's see what's.
I don't know if it's me.
This is all uncut footage, everybody.
Okay.
Perfect.
Can you hear us a little bit better?
Yep. Hey, you there?
Yes, we are. We can hear you. Let's go here.
There we go.
There we go. All right.
Better?
Where did I skip out?
You were diving into essentially lazy techs, what creates lazy techs.
Yeah, and how you can avoid them.
Yes.
So
okay.
if it's okay, I'm just going to give some advice or just some tips to the new technicians or just technicians that have been in it and want to up their game. I created a little list I put together. I put some thought into it and some things that really helped me. Number one, self-motivation. That's kind of self-explanatory. Obviously, everybody needs self-motivation if they want to excel in a business that you're literally on your own all day doing routes, 10, 15 routes, whatever, in a truck. You need self-motivation to actually do anything. You're basically working by yourself. Self-learning, obviously, on a company that doesn't have learning. I think it sounds like you guys have a good training program at your work, but as I don't think a tech like on a company like ours should use it as an excuse. There's no excuse for ignorance, and self-learning is going to be a big one. Being knowledgeable. So being knowledgeable is going to be kind of the same self-learning, same thing. But I think being knowledgeable and being confident in your work is going to be a big one. I'm kind of relating, actually, just background. I'm kind of aiming this to be like your podcast you had of tech killers. So this is like an anti-tech killer list.
No, that's perfect.
Being knowledgeable. So being knowledgeable, basically, if you're confident in your work and if you're not confident in your work, you're not going to go anywhere. So that kind of this being knowledgeable and self-learning are the same thing. Because if you're not self-learning, you're not going to be confident in your work and you're not going to do a good job. So that's a big one. Taking pride in your work is a big one for me. Kind of as a wildlife technician, I think it applies more because I've seen a lot of wildlife guys that just don't do a good job, and they'll put mesh and they'll put foam, and it just looks horrendous. But that's a whole nother story. Taking pride in my work is a big one for me, at least. So I think if you guys aren't taking pride in your work, I've done jobs in the past that I do not feel proud about at all. I cringe when I think, or if I actually gone back to those jobs for like a regular pest job or like mice, and it's so bad. So taking pride in your work, that's a big one. That's really important. Always be selling. As I was saying before, I'm always looking for opportunities. I've gotten into this a little bit more recently. I never used to be big on selling, but going to the Wildlife Expo and different seminars and stuff, I've really increased my game. Last month, just on upsells, I did close to $9,400 in upsells on my regular route. So that was regular routes, and some of that was off of inspections. Like I'll sell a wildlife job for $1,500 off of a inspection, but most of that was just upsells of whether it might be just pointing out to the customer this, they've got raccoons in the shed, or like you need those vents sealed up, and just pricing it out. That was a big one for me. So, and I also, awesome. I love upselling, and I didn't know that before I actually started upselling. Yeah. So I'm pretty much, you're, as a tech, you're a salesman. It doesn't matter if you have salesmen for your company. Most companies do production. My company does. So I'm getting 10% of everything I'm earning, and it definitely boosts the just self-confidence, but also the the paycheck too, which helps.
Yeah. Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah, that was so doing number 6. So that was number 5. Number 6 is doing more than your 8 hours. So basically, us as techs, and especially as a company, in a company like mine, I'm required to basically all the company wants is, especially in this day and age, all the company owner wants is a good tech. Go and put that 8 hours in, or 7 hours, or 9 hours, whatever. Do your best in that situation. And if you're doing that, or if there's a tech out there that's doing that, great, that's awesome. Mm-hmm. But I think that is kind of the minimum. Putting in your 8 hours. I believe that every tech should be trying to put in way more. So basically, all that is like, if you're running 10, 15 routes, you can't have time to price out a wildlife job and quote that customer out. So I'll get all the pictures and everything. I will text the customer, ask them if they want a quote. Obviously, they say yes. All the customers usually say, yeah, give me a quote, free quote, whatever. So then after hours, I am going behind and I'm making those quotes and I'm handing them out. And basically, I'm working a 9 or a 10 hour day. It never just works out to be an 8 hour day. And most technicians that just put in an 8 hour day, they never really grow. So I would suggest anybody that really wants to grow, go and put in a 10 hour day. And most of the time I am working till 9 o'clock at night, whatever it is, just texting with customers, or texting them at 3 o'clock in the morning. Like, they'll just wake up and they'll text, and then it'll like, the phone will like wake me up, and I'm like, oh, and I'll just like answer them, and they're like, oh, wow. So, but putting in more than 8 hours is a big one, I think. And I don't know, you guys probably agree with me.
Yeah, no, you know what? On that note, before you get on to the next one, yeah, I do agree with you. I agree 100%. If you are looking to grow in really anything, if you're going to put in the bare minimum work, me and Aaron have talked about it on past episodes. We talk about it even today, just recently with hiring new guys, is you're hired to work 8 hours, right? I mean, that's exactly what your job is. It's, you come in, you show up, you do your route, you go home, you clock out. That's what you're supposed to do. That does not make you an exceptional technician. That does not put you entitled to be a manager. That does not put you in, the entitled area to be something bigger than a manager.
Sure.
You're doing what you've been asked to do. Literally, that's it. So like in this, Jonathan, with you going, so much further and pushing and working harder and finding that, in my eyes, that's where so much more value is produced. And I look at you as, such a pillar where you're at, but you should be so much more, or you should be working towards so much more, whether it's within the company or without the company. It doesn't really matter, but that is the value you're creating. And most guys don't understand that concept is, I'm getting paid this much and this guy's getting paid this much. We need to get paid the same because we're doing the same. And it's, no, you're not. You're not doing anything close to the same. You're doing the bare minimum, or what you've been asked to do, which is great. There's nothing wrong with that. But what this person's doing is literally so much more. They're doing upsells. They're working after hours. They're talking to customers. They're creating more for the company, more opportunity, which creates more jobs. And you creating more jobs is creating more positions. With more positions means people can move up. When people can move up, you can get paid more. Exactly. So it comes back in a full circle, and so many people don't understand that. So yes, I do agree with you.
Right. And I think it's one of those things that's kind of subtle, and it's not going to be an instantaneous, like, all the boss sees that you're working after hours, he sees that you're putting in this time, and he's going to instantly give you a raise. It is not one of those things. It's like a long term. You got to be doing this for literally years. I've been doing it for how long? And it's made me better over time. And it's just increasing my productivity and everything. But it is not an instantaneous thing at all. It's something that the company or the boss or someone above you is going to see over a long period of time. And it's going to show on other techs that aren't doing that. And basically they're not going to go anywhere.
Yeah, no. And I just actually, quick side note on that, quick story. I just had this come through. So we were looking for technicians to hire, and a guy messaged in essentially, hey, are you going to pay X amount or more? And I instantly responded back saying, thank you. Go find another job somewhere else. Whether I'm going to pay that or more, it doesn't matter. I'm looking to build a team. and I'm looking for longevity. If you're looking for a dollar amount, go find a job somewhere else. Even if I'm paying more, I don't care. That's not how your mindset and coming into it already is so off. Even if I was paying $100 an hour, it doesn't matter. What you are looking for is you're looking for a pay increase, a pay bump, and not a career bump. You're looking to get a quick dollar now and nothing in the future. This kid's not looking to grow. He's not looking to become better. He's not looking for management. He's not looking for anything. He just is looking, who's going to pay me a couple dollars more per hour, and I'm going to jump, and I'm going to jump, and I'm going to jump, and I'm going to jump. And so, Jonathan, it honestly, and what you said is perfect, and I love it that it came out of your mouth and not mine, because I preach it, but you're living it, and you're living proof of it. Is if you're just looking for that and understanding, hey, look, the hard work I'm putting in now, I'm not going to get a reward from it instantaneously. It's going to come after a year. It's going to come after 2 years. And that's what people don't understand today. It's so instant, right? I mean, everything is now. I did something good right now, so give me more money. And it's like, well, yeah, but you haven't been doing it consistently for a year, 2 years.
Sure.
Anyone can do it for a week.
And like, I get like other texts that are like, they're great and everything, but they'll get on me. They'll be like, oh yeah, like get on, I'm on Call of Duty later tonight. Like, let's go play whatever. And we'll play after work. And I'm like, what the heck? Like, that's what you do after work? It's like, it just blows my mind. But I mean, there are people that will do that. They'll just go home, they'll game, or they'll just do whatever they're doing, and their free time, and they won't spend any time just gaining knowledge or putting in more than your 8 hours of work. So yeah,
and they're gonna see that they may be ahead of you now, and this has happened to me. I've seen it, and it's the delay in what's gonna come. Is they may be progressed further, whatever it may be, but as you stay consistent in that, what happens is you start to jump them tenfold, and they're sitting back saying, what did you do? How did you do that? What's going on? What's happening in your life? And it's, you don't understand the consistency by everything that we're doing that creates that in the future, and it's that delayed gratification that is so much delayed, but when it does hit, it's so much better.
It is. It's more of career long instead of just instantaneous, right?
Exactly.
100%.
Yeah. So sorry, Jonathan, you can keep going.
Yeah.
Okay. I have a few more points. So, following up with customers. This is something that I've started doing. I'm still not that great. I hate doing it, but just especially for the wildlife jobs and everything, calling customers. I'm mostly going back there a week later or something to remove the window door or do trim work or something. Following up with customers is going to be a big one, especially if the company doesn't require it. So our company does not require following up with customers or anything. So it's going to be more of self doing that. And if you're good enough as a tech, it's going to be really self-gratifying when those customers call out and they're happy and they praise you on the phone and everything. But then you also might take a hit of humble pie when they tell you that it sucks and you got to be back here and your system isn't working. But that's where self-learning comes in, is where you're going to be like, what am I doing wrong? And it's going to help you. So I think calling back is a major one. I'm still getting better at it. I'm not perfect on these at all, but it's something that I think is going to make you stand out as a tech.
Yeah, no, and that is a good one, because that's something that I did in the beginning as well, and I try to keep doing. Is if I fail and somebody calls in, we did something wrong, we did something bad, I like to dissect the problem and understand, what did I do wrong that I can change to do better the next time? You fired me. That's fine. It sucks, but what can I do now for the next person so they don't fire me? And I've asked people, I've actually called them and said, hey, why did you get rid of us? And they've had to go through and they've explained. I said, okay, that totally makes sense. Yeah, we screwed up. I get that.
And you learn from it. Like the ones that don't tell you what you screwed up on and everything, I would say there's probably on them, because they don't really have anything against you. But it's when you do screw up, you learn from it. And basically, oh, you lost a customer. Oh, well, but you learn from the process. When you're not earning, you're learning. So really.
Oh yeah.
Let's see here. Taking responsibility for your actions is the next one. This is not only a moral issue. It's taking responsibility for actions is a big one in this day and age. So
Yeah.
I have a couple texts in the crew. Well, one specifically. It's everybody knows it. The office knows it. The boss knows it. He doesn't follow up with anything. He's a liar. So it drags on tech and everybody notices it. And the only person that's not noticing it is himself. So basically, I mean, I've taken responsibility for, I'm not perfect in any way, but I would say that this is a big one. Whether it might be treating wrong or ignorance or anything. A big one is, and this actually relates to my story I'm going to tell later in the podcast, but taking responsibility for your actions is going to be a big one. I'm a Christian, so I have moral issues with not with lying and everything, but still, even if you don't, or if you're not a Christian and you don't have those morals, it's still, you got to take responsibility. Even if it's not your fault, you should probably be doing this. So I think that's a major one.
I agree with you.
Same.
Yep. Always have a great attitude. That was one that I found pretty soon in the industry after I got into it. Whatever it might be, if you're stressed or whatever, going to a job, don't let it be known. So go up to every single house, every house I'm going to, even if I'm running way behind time and I don't know how the heck I'm going to get finished in the day, or some other customer just made me mad. I am going to go up to that house with a smile on my face, and it will usually turn out good. It'll turn out way better, and then it'll cheer me up. So just going to every single appointment, being super cheerful and like glad to be there, it's going to totally change your outlook for the day. That's one I found that I put into play every day, and it really works. Try it.
Yeah, that one's a hard one. That's a habit.
It is. It's a habit. You're absolutely right.
Yeah, because you have guys, and we just had a guy yesterday. It's sad but funny at the same time, because when something does happen in their life, you can really tell between people is the ones that have created it as a habit, saying, "Hey, how are you?" And Jonathan, you would probably say, "Oh, I'm great. I'm doing awesome. Thanks for asking." And you do have those other people where it's like, "Hey, how are you?" And they're like, "No, I'm all right. I'm okay." And instantly, something happened in their life. Mm-hmm. They stubbed their toe last night, whatever it may be. They find any excuse that can be like, "Oh, it's all right. I'm doing okay." Mm-hmm. And so you do have to build that habit of being positive. You have to build that habit of, it doesn't matter what goes on in my life, that I can't bring with me to that person. Mm-hmm. When I had, I had a death in the family, my grandpa, my grandma, very old, 96, 97. It's not sad, right? I mean, they had a great life, almost 100 years. That's amazing. Yeah. And people would hear that and be like, oh no, I'm so sorry. And it's like, I'm not. Did you see her? She was like laying in a bed suffering. It wasn't a bad thing that she's gone. It was a very good thing that she's gone. But people, they're like, well, you need to take time. I had people in the office telling me, go home. It's okay. And I'm like, what is going home going to do?
Yeah.
Like, I'm okay. I'm good. Like, I'm great. There's nothing wrong with me on my side. But it's creating that habit and that positive attitude, which I do think is very difficult. One of the points is that is probably one of the hardest things is to create is a consistent habit of being positive and happy and understanding, yes, something's going to go wrong in your life. You can't do anything about it. Yeah. And no one cares. You're going out to somebody's house that you've met once before or never met. They don't care if somebody died. They don't care if an animal died. They don't care. Don't bring it up. Be happy. Be positive. Yeah. They don't know who you are. So Jonathan, good point on that.
Even going throughout your day, and obviously schedules do not work out. I don't know if they always do where you are, but obviously there's communication differences, and someone in the office screws your day up, and there's nothing you can do about it. Like, as much as I want to reschedule jobs and I want to call someone up in the office and yell at them, I can't. It's literally just take it as it comes. And then why would you be mad at your day and then make the rest of your day miserable when you can just be cheery about it, just because there's nothing you can do about it? Literally, it's out of your hands. Like, why don't we just accept it? And if there's some customers that get mad that I'm 2 hours late, it is what it is. It is my fault, but it's not really. So basically it's long term. We're always working on that one.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Yep. And then 10 was go out and have fun. I absolutely love the industry, and I don't know how I could do any other industry. I'm loving it. I'm on fire for the industry, and it's just, I have so much joy in what I do. It's just, I don't know. I don't even work almost.
Yeah.
Yep. So I don't know. I know you guys love it, and most of the people in it, that it sounds like whenever they're getting into whatever, they just know instantly they love it. But yeah, that's an easy one. Have fun.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I agree with you. Good points on that.
Yeah. Those are just some of the points I brought up. I want you to put it out there. I hope it'll help some tech out there that's looking to up their game. And if you try to work on those, yeah, it's definitely going to help.
Yeah, I think so.
It's going to help a lot of people listening or watching.
I hope so.
Yeah. So let's, and thanks for those points. And I do think if anybody is listening, go back, listen to those points again, because they are very good points, and it really kills the technician killer, right? I mean, it's going to prevent that from happening. And if you're enjoying what you're doing, you have a positive outlook, you're going through all those steps. You're going to be successful no matter what. You're putting in the time after hours. You're going to be successful whether you're in that current job or place or where you work, or in the future, because you just created a better habit.
Yeah.
So it's always going to be a better outcome no matter what when you do focus on those things. So thanks, Jonathan, for throwing those out there.
Yeah, and it's not even all those things. It's not going to be something that's going to be beneficial to that only the company you're working for. It's going to be beneficial to you. It's going to make you it's going to make me a better tech. So anywhere I go, if I ever go for a bigger raise or anything, it's going to be to a different, or usually probably for me, a better company, obviously. But I'm going to bring all those traits with me, and it's just going to make, as I grow in the industry, I'm going to just be better and better at my job, which will probably be better and better pay, and it'll all work out at the end. But yeah, building those habits is a big one. Yeah.
Yeah. And honestly, to add, even more to it is, you're right. And most people don't think about it. It's, I'm doing these things for them. No. You're doing them for you. Mm-hmm. Yes. They may get the immediate benefit right now, but the second that you're gone, you bring you with you. You bring all the habits you've created with you. You don't leave those at the place that you just left. That comes with you, wherever you go. So when people have that outlook of, yes, I'm going to put in the best work I possibly can right now, you're only being true to yourself and where you're going to go next to succeed even more. And so people that are like, well, I'm not going to do that. Not here. I'm not going to do that here. They screw me, or they're rude. Or,
you good? You there?
Oh, yeah. Can you hear us? Jonathan?
You there?
Yeah, we can hear you, Jonathan.
Yeah, we can hear you. Can you hear us? We had a good run.
We had a good run. Jonathan, you there? Oh, we'll wait till it gets connected again.
Yep. Oh, I get snippets here. There you are. Nope.
There we go. Can you hear us now?
Oh.
Nope, there you are.
There it is.
Can you guys hear me?
Yep. Can you hear me?
Nope.
Nope.
It's okay.
There you are. Nope.
Nothing. We don't know. We don't know what's going on here. Jonathan?
Can you hear me now?
Yep, we can hear you.
Can you hear us? Well.
All right, we'll see.
Okay, there you are.
You're back?
Oh, maybe not.
Well, to add to his point, we do get a lot of people messaging in about how can I separate myself from the pack, or, what can I do to take those next steps? And the list that Johnny just gave was awesome. We talk about it a ton. Can you hear us?
Yep, now I can hear you.
Oh, perfect. I was just giving us some time for the technical difficulties, but what I was saying is, a lot of the people that do message in that are asking for some tips or advice, if they're brand new or if they've been in for a while, it's, I've been stagnant. How can I separate myself from the pack? And, Daniel and I talk about it a ton. It's like being resilient, adding value to yourself, having a positive outlook, being resourceful when you're out there in the field, always learning, all of that, just kind of really just embody that list that you just gave us. So thank you. But now that we can hear you, what were we talking about?
We're getting into the story.
That's right. You had a good story for us.
Stories, man. That's why I came on.
That's right.
Okay. So, actually, I had a couple questions for you guys, but then I will actually can we go to the questions first before we get the stories?
Yeah, of course.
Sounds
Okay. What is your training? Having said our company doesn't really have a training program, what does your training program look like? Do you guys send all your techs out to Rodent Academy, or do you just go to shows? What does it look like?
Ooh, you want me to go?
Go first.
Okay.
Because it starts with you.
Okay, it starts with me. Our training program is a little bit different. We're not going to bring you on, Jonathan. You come on as a technician. You're starting out. First thing that we're going to do is we're running through technical stuff, right? So your chemicals, you're running a route, you're running through the app. We're teaching you everything through there. As you come on as just a first year tech, beginning tech, even if you have some experience, everyone starts really in the same area until we gain, hey, we understand Jonathan knows wildlife. Okay, perfect. He knows exclusion. Okay, perfect. Then we start to move you into those. But even then, we want to make sure it's a uniform service, right? So you're coming on and we say, okay, you want to get into the wildlife, the rodent, the exclusion side of things. We now have created an investment plan for you. So our training program is based off of what do you want to do? What do you enjoy, right? So you like doing wildlife things? Okay, great. We're going to create an investment plan on what does that look like and where does that need to go. And in that investment plan, it goes through communication with customers. It's going into how to do the exclusion work. Not only are you doing the exclusion work with your investment plan advisor, but you're going through that and eventually you're going to do it on your own and they're going to follow behind you to make sure that you did it correctly. So there's a lot more into it and it's a harder answer than just, a couple minutes. But the idea is we bring you in with the basis of here's the foundation laid here at our company. Then from there, it kind of branches off. What's your investment plan going to look like? What do you want to get into? Right? I don't know if you want to add more onto that.
No, that's perfect. I mean, you went a little bit more specific than I thought you were going to go.
That's
okay. Just jumping off the bat, like when we bring somebody in, like you said, company culture, company standards, some of the unteachable stuff, we have to just make sure those are there.
Yeah.
Right. Which we obviously screen through the interview process. We want to make sure somebody can hold their own in a conversation, has a positive outlook, customers screaming at them. They're not going to be, they're not going to crumble under that pressure. Mm-hmm. But after that, Daniel will have a little bit of time with them in the office doing the legal stuff. I'm usually the first person that they ride along with for at least that first week. And whether they're experienced or not, it's them watching me. And then we switch seats. They're in the driver's seat. I'm in the passenger seat. And I basically clear them to get them to a point of being on a ride along with a certified field trainer. Now, the job of the certified field trainer is to basically, they're the final gate, basically one of their peers, but also a connection to management, kind of bridging that gap to say, okay, I'm going to put my name behind this new guy going out there because he's proven to me that he knows how to do a general service. He knows how to do an inspection or whatever we hired him for. So it creates multiple points of contact to make sure there's accountability on multiple levels. And then we throw it on the new hire. It's like, okay, you've passed this test. You're allowed to run a route on your own, or you've proven that you can do rodent estimates, rodent exclusion. Now you're going to do it on your own, and we're going to follow up, but it's that constant, that follow up, that training, the levels that go into text reporting to the certified field trainer. He's reporting to us, and then it all goes smooth from there.
Mm-hmm.
Great. Okay. Yeah, that sounds really good. It's a lot different than where I came from. It's a fairly small company, right? I'm working. We only have 6 guys in the crew. Mm-hmm. But basically when I started, I'll give you a little background of what my training was. About 3 months after I started, I got my pest license and I can now apply underneath a supervisor. And part of, it's all remote. So I get my products.
Nope, I think he cut out.
So close.
You guys still with me?
Yep.
Yeah, it cut out for a minute there. You said you get your products remote.
Oh.
Nope, again, huh? Man.
It's okay.
It's okay.
Hey guys, can you hear me?
Yes, loud and clear. Can you hear us, Johnny?
Yep, I can hear you now.
Yep.
Sorry.
Okay. You were saying that you get your products remote.
Where was I in the story? No. jumped out again.
Oh, still. Jonathan, you there? No? Nothing? Can't hear us?
Sorry, guys. My Wi-Fi might not.
Yeah, it's okay.
Okay.
It's okay. We'll figure it out.
So where was I? I just met pretty much. I go to meet my boss and I mentioned to him that I've never done fleas, and I saw a flea job on my route, and he was like, "Oh, you've never done fleas? I'll show." He usually used what we used back then. Ultracide, I think we used to use. Mm-hmm. And he was like, "Oh, just take the bottle and just kind of just spray down the floor here, get the baseboards, and then you'll be good. They'll die." And I'm like, "Okay, sounds good." And I went at it, and that was my training basically. So I think that's where self-learning and self-confidence in your job, like just knowing your job thoroughly, is where I kind of got scarred from. And I wanted to learn because I literally go into those, and if they ask me any questions and the customer wants to know what I'm treating or what I'm treating for.
Yeah.
It's
gotten better, and basically a lot of self-learning.
No, that's good. And do you have any other questions for us?
That was the only one. I have a couple of other points to make, but no, that was the base of the one. I just kind of want to know what a training program looks like. It kind of formal, so
okay,
I like it.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, now are we on to the stories? You keep us on this like cliffhanger stories. Come on.
So I have a couple stories. So the one is customer service and mistake I made, and then the other one, I'll start with this one, and then the other one's a nasty story. So first one is the customer service. So we run on pest routes, like you guys, right?
Okay.
Or field routes now, right?
Yeah.
So we use the same system, and I don't know if you guys remember. It was the old one, the first original app. I think it was called
Pest Routes.
Pest Routes Mobile, yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
It was not the one they just went out with, the one a few months ago. It was way before that.
Oh, okay.
So if you go into the complete tab, it'll have where you can have customer notes seen by customer. It has a little parenthesis, seen by customer, and then in the old system, it used to have another box underneath it that said additional notes. Didn't say where it went, and then it said another box underneath that said customer or office notes only seen by office or something, right? Office only.
Yes.
And you can flag it. So I always used to use the customer notes for obviously ones I want to put on the invoice, and then flagged note. And I never used to use the third box right in between them. So once we were meeting or whatever, and I was like, I asked my boss, I was like, "Hey, what's this third box for?" And he was like, "Oh, it's just a general notes box. Nobody's going to see it. So the office, you can't flag it. It's just the customer doesn't see it. The office doesn't really see it because you can't flag it. It's just a general more notes." So I'm like, "Oh, okay, that's fine." So I started using it, and I used it for notes that I didn't want the customer to see, but I didn't really need the office to see. I would put on just random notes, just in case like something comes up and they have to look back in services. There's obviously a note in there, but the office didn't really need to see it at the time. So just something to cover my butt. So never had a problem until a customer calls, and so boss calls me on a Saturday, and I wasn't working that Saturday, and he was like, "Hey, this customer is extremely mad. She wants to cancel the service and everything." And I'm like, "And you serviced her?" And I'm like, "What? What happened?" I was like, "I never got terribly mad." This note in the account that says, it's a very, very elderly lady. Her hands shake, and the check is extremely hard to read. And I'm like, yeah, I remember it right off the bat. I know I put those notes in there, but I would never put that on a customer so the customer can see it. And so the backstory, I went to this customer's house, and I've serviced her a long time. She's upper 90s. She has a full-time caretaker, and the older lady there, she writes out the check every time. So like $100 or something. And she, older ladies, or older people, when they get older, they start to shake. And I could not read this check. She wrote it out for me. And if I didn't know the amount, I would not have been able to read it. It was so shaky. Like it just like scribbles on the check. Mm-hmm. And I put a note in the additional notes that says older lady or older, homeowner. It was something along those lines. Yeah. I couldn't read the check. And I put it on just because I knew if the office looked back or if they saw the check and they were questioning it, I didn't really need them to see it. Like the office, they wouldn't have known what to do it if I flagged the note. So it was just an extra note. And apparently those notes that were in additional notes were going onto the invoices, and the homeowner saw it. Well, the caretaker saw it and then shared it with the old lady, and they got so mad, and it did not go well. So, but man, that's not the worst. That's not the worst part of the story, guys.
Oh,
worst part of the story is the following up 3 months, going back to the same customers I've been doing for 3 months, or quarterly services, bi-monthly, whatever. And looking back at those notes, I had been putting on everybody's account of random notes, like customer wanted to cancel, was very upset. I calmed her down, and she's all good now. Like just stuff that, or even worse than that, like customer was a Karen. I don't know if I put that bad, but just stuff that was so bad. I never would have customers seeing it. And the worst part, I would read it before I go into the service, and then I knew, as I go into the house, I know that they've read that note, and I'm just like cringing. I'm like, I hope they don't mention anything. I never had another customer that actually mentioned something, but I don't know what I wrote.
Funny.
It's like one of those cringiest things. I just want to block out of my mind. I can't believe I did it. And, I'm very cautious with my notes now.
Hey, that wasn't your fault, though, because you didn't know where that was going. So
I didn't. And to this day, I don't put even notes to the office. I'm like really courteous. I don't say anything bad about the customer. I've just been scarred. But I did. But leading into one of my points was taking responsibility for your actions. I called the customer. I apologized profusely. I said, I'm so sorry. I thought that was just going to be an initial no. And I was like, I don't disrespect you at all, but they ended up canceling. And unfortunately it wasn't a happy ending to the story, but
hey, but that's okay. You lived and learned. So that's good.
I did, so that was my really cringy story. I thought you guys relate to it because, it's Pest Routes. Pest Routes now only has two spots. And actually, I think the third spot or notes is under the billing and invoicing. They have an additional for billing notes, and that will actually see seen on the invoice. But when it was when we were transitioning over to the other app, and when I looked at it, those notes I put in as additional notes, they were under the invoice apps, so under the invoice notes.
Okay.
Yeah. That's the customer service story. As for gross stories, this one actually happened past few weeks. Customer had a so-called raccoon. She thought it was a raccoon in her vent system underneath her house, and the inspection turned up. It was venting. It smelled horrendous in her bathroom, where one of the vents was coming up underneath her sink. Yeah. And we took a look, and the vent, there was hair all in there and everything, and I saw it smelled like skunk. And I was like, "You sure it's raccoon? It's skunk." And she was like, in the actual vent system, and we didn't hear anything. We thought we heard something scuttle while we were crawling. It's a crawl space, so we're down on our hands. We're we're billing our bellies in tie back suits, like we're all the way under there. Only a foot and a half of space, and we're cutting this vent system down. We cut it up. There's like a spot between where it went up into the floor. It's kind of hard to picture, but where it went up into the floor, and in the crawl space, there's like a 2-foot area that we couldn't get to. So we zip tied it shut. We took all the vent that had been there's like 3 inches of skunk poop in there. It's nasty. But we ended up putting for part of the system, we put in a one-way door for him to go out into a trap so we can trap him, put up a camera and everything. And we get all done. It's about 3 o'clock in the afternoon. And I was like, there's that 2-foot area. And we heard something. I was like, maybe I should just check to see if that skunk or raccoon, whatever it was, gone up into the bathroom where it was been living for a while. And sure enough, Mr. Skunk had gone up, instead of going out the other direction like we thought he was, he had gone up into that 2-foot section between where I sealed up the vent and where the vent went into the actual bathroom, and the skunk was in there. And it kind of ruined my day. So we tried to remove him during the house, and we closed the bathroom doors and everything, tried to remove him that way. Couldn't get to him. So he went down into the vent system, so we had to crawl back. We blocked it off so he couldn't enter the bathroom anymore underneath the sink area. We blocked it off the top of the vent, so he was down in like a 2-foot area. So we crawled under there with our tie-back suits on underneath the house, and we tried to get him out. And if you can imagine us pulling on a skunk's tail, on our faces, with our faces a few inches away, it didn't turn out good for the humans. So first time we ever got sprayed, and I did not. Me and the other tech did not smell good at all.
Oh, how did you get the smell off?
So funny question. So I had to throw away some of my clothes. Tyvek suit saved some of it, but I almost threw away my wallet and my phone case, everything, even though they're in my pockets, they reeked. For my hair and everything, we ended up doing, like the mouthwash, like, fluoride and stuff like that. Like this peppermint, whatever, spearmint.
Yeah.
Mouthwash. We washed with that, and it seemed to do a good job.
Oh,
but
wow, okay.
Hat and everything. I was wearing a hat and everything, so I didn't actually get it on. The gloves and everything got the most of it, so it wasn't directly on me, but still, the van, everything reeked. It was bad.
Oh man.
Yeah, it was not. It was the first time actually getting sprayed pretty much directly, and yeah, it didn't make for a good day, but otherwise, it made for a good story. So
Yeah,
that is a really good story.
Thank
Yes.
you.
Oh my gosh.
Yep.
Well, thank you, Jonathan, for that.
I guess neither of my stories had happy endings, but
No, but they were good ones.
yeah.
So it's one of those things I'll tell for a long time. I guess it wasn't worth having it. I wasn't worth getting sprayed, but yeah. Anyways, it's life of being a wildlife tech.
Yes, exactly. So, well, and thank you, Jonathan, so much for coming on. We don't want to take too much more of your weekend and time. Thanks for bringing on those 10 points to really kill the lazy tech out there. And thanks for the awesome stories.
One more thing, can I add before you look?
Yeah.
I listened to your recent podcast with Phil there, and I loved it. But you guys were saying that the Wildlife Expo didn't have hands-on training, and this year actually in February, you guys missed it, but they added a whole day of hands-on training. They had vendors. They had, I think, 8 vendors that stayed behind. They held all their stuff, and they taught us hands-on bird, the electric wire, the netting. They trained us on how to program bird lasers, these massive $15,000 lasers. They trained us on Get Bent Academy was there, and they trained us on how to use. I had already done metalwork and everything, but soffit returns, all this stuff, and it was really caulking. They even had like little competitions going with who can do the best caulk jobs and everything. And I won some some hats and sweaters and stuff. It was really fun. So if you want to head back to the Wildlife Expo, they have upped their game and they have a hands-on training now.
Okay. Well, I'm glad that you said that because that's exactly what I wanted. And that's awesome because they didn't have it when I went.
Yeah, they had like 30 or 40 guys go, and they broke us up into like 4 groups and 2 different sessions. They had four stations going, and then they midday they switched it up, and after everybody had gone through, and they did a whole different section of 4 different vendors that had come in, and they taught us and everything. They had like 5 metal brakes set up and everything. It was really good. Yeah.
Oh, that's sweet. Okay, well, I'll be going to the next one.
Yeah, I'm going to be. Next one's going to be in Orlando, so I'll have to. I'm definitely going. While I was at the expo, I won a free ticket. One of the raffles was a free ticket, and I won it for next year, so I'll be there.
Nice,
oh, sweet!
dude.
That is awesome.
Cool.
Okay, well, we'll see you there for sure.
Yeah,
definitely. They're awesome. We'll be able to meet in person.
Oh yeah. Well, thank you so much, Jonathan. Have a great weekend, and thank you so much for coming on.
You as well. Alrighty, have a good one.
See ya.
Yeah, bye.
Okay, there we have it.
That was
next
fun.
NPMM. Jonathan.
Yeah, that was awesome. It was cool. We talk about a lot of wildlife stuff on, so having a guy who's like dedicated in the field for wildlife, we have like wildlife experts, people who sell the wildlife stuff, talk about it, but someone who's actually in the trenches doing it. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, no, that was cool. That was awesome. And especially the points, Jonathan is a rare find. You don't get a lot of guys like that. You don't get a lot of guys that are willing to go, more than what they're asked and put in that extra time because they think that the value is only given to where they're at.
Yeah.
I'm not gaining any value by doing this. I'm only giving. And if you're not going to compensate me for it, I'm not going to do it.
Right.
But it's that double-edged sword.
Mm-hmm.
You never do it. You never gain the habit.
Yeah.
You never gain the habit. You're never going to keep doing it.
Yeah.
And you're never going to build that value in yourself.
Exactly.
And so people think about it so backwards that I need to get the benefit now to be able to do it. And that's not going to work that way. The world doesn't work that way. You don't get the benefit until you start putting in that time. then you see the benefit. That's like, I'll go to the gym when I'm shredded.
Yeah.
It doesn't work that way.
Nope.
I'll eat clean when I lose all the fat.
Yeah.
It doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
You can't go backwards. You can't wait for the reward to come and then do it. When I get paid my $30 million contract with this NFL company, then I'll play my hardest.
Yeah.
It doesn't work.
Yeah.
You got to go to high school, then you got to go to college, and then you got to prove yourself to even get to the NFL level. And even then you got to, put in the practice. You don't get that reward till later on in life. And Jonathan understands that.
Exactly. And what I appreciate, Jonathan, too, is it's the reward, but it's also the skill and the implementation of it. Because we talk a lot about, like, people always ask us for how do you guys get motivated, or how do you get the confidence to do it? And you get that by doing it,
Yes.
Seriously, it's like how do I get motivated to be a better salesperson? It's like, you sell. Yeah. And you learn from your experiences, and you learn from what you sucked at and what you're good at, and you build on that, and you're better tomorrow,
Yeah. And that's exactly correct, that's what you have to do, but put in the time and the work now.
Yes.
That's what so many, you watch all the videos, entrepreneur videos, blah, 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 all this stuff. And it's funny because everybody, the pattern is the same, is it sucks in the beginning. Mm-hmm. Absolutely terrible. It's a horrible life. It's tons of hours for no reward.
Yeah.
And it's because you're looking for that reward in the future, 10 years from now, 20 years from now. I'm not looking for the reward tomorrow. It'd be nice, but it's not there, right? We're looking for it in the future.
Of course.
Anybody who's putting in that time, it's for the future. You're going through 12 years of, schooling to become a specialist, a doctor, right? You don't get reward.
Yeah.
You don't get rewarded until after it's all done. Mm-hmm. Then you start to see the rewards. And even those rewards aren't even as great as they could be.
Yeah.
Because you don't even have any time now practicing. Mm-hmm. So now you got to put in that time to really see the bigger reward behind it.
Sure.
But it's all there. And if there's anything great stories, getting sprayed by a skunk is definitely, one of the tops. But if I could pull anything from this episode and I can throw it back on all the listeners, technicians, anybody out there who's looking to make this their career, to go further in it, whether you're starting whatever it may be, it's understand the time spent and the time that you have to put in isn't during that 8 hours of the day. Mm-hmm. That's not what that looks like. It is all the time spent after hours. It's all the time away from doing pest control. It's away from selling, away from all of that. I remember even knocking doors. I got to practice my pitch on the doors. Mm-hmm. I kept practicing and changing and recording myself and listening to myself talk at night when I went home. Mm-hmm. In the morning before I went back out to knock doors again.
Yeah.
It was all done after hours.
Exactly.
It's game time. Game time is now. It is time for everything I practice. It's time to put it into play.
100%.
After that game, okay, now I need to practice. I need to practice and keep going back to the drawing board. How to change that, how to do it better.
Exactly.
So, guys out there, please don't think that your 6 to 8 hours a day that you're putting in to run your route is going to get you to management. It's going to get you to that next level. It's going to get you to train someone. It's going to get you higher up in the company. It's going to make you magically become a salesman. It doesn't work that way. Mm-hmm. You have to put in that time after hours, away from the vehicle, away from customers, away from the B&G, away from the insects. That's where you're going to have to put in that time. Mm-hmm. And the more you put in, it's not for that company. It is going to help. It's not for that company. The ultimate gain is you. The ultimate winner out of it is you. Yeah. It's not them. Yeah, cool. Jonathan, you produced almost 10 grand for that company. That's awesome. And you got compensated for it. Mm-hmm. And you put in those extra hours and you still got compensated for it because you get 10%.
Yeah.
So you still made money. He didn't lose, but he's looking at it as I'm going to be better now.
Yes.
Yeah. They made their 10,000 minus expenses and all that crap, right? But I get that.
Yeah.
They get 10,000. What do I get?
Right.
100, 200, a million. Mm-hmm. What is that going to help me in the future? Mm-hmm. That's what people don't understand. that habit that he created just produced so much that he doesn't even see yet.
Yeah.
And that company that got 10 grand off of him getting to practice this is nothing compared to what he's going to make in the future.
Definitely.
You know, and people they cannot grasp that concept. So that's awesome and so refreshing that he does.
100%.
You just don't get that from guys.
No, you don't. And you hit everything right on the head, so I won't even add to it.
Yeah.
But what I will say is that this episode sort of kind of ties into the Technician Killer episode. That's a really popular one too. So
yeah.
I think that's a great one. If you guys haven't listened to that, go back. And obviously through this one, go back and listen to the 10 points that he made, because a lot of the things that we preach, you know, and obviously you yourself, you can apply this to your individual route or your career, or you know somebody that might benefit. You can share this and have them listen to it, because people are always asking us, how do I move up in the company? How do I do this? I know we were touching base on that earlier, but it's that simple. You know, it's separating yourself from the pack, being resourceful, taking ownership, adding value to yourself. So please, you guys know anybody that would benefit from this stuff that we put out there, some of this content we put out there? We're doing it all on a Saturday for free, because it's something we love doing and we enjoy connecting with you guys. So if you share us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, those are some of the streaming platforms, and obviously our social media handles. You have our Instagram, Facebook, even our website. Tons of great information there to connect, ask questions. We have episodes come out every Monday and Thursday. But thank you again for listening to the DNA Pest Control Podcast.